Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Today we are introduced to the inaugural club race of the Bacchus Drinkers Club, a club designed to go fast and furious with plenty of power throughout the overworld and lots of wine drinking. The only objective is to defeat the singular rival of the starting character. Today we are started with Cecil, so our rival is DKC. Our runners will be John Burkhead, who made us incredible run through the Blue Moon recent tournament, and Potato, who is very experienced with high power flag sets and the ladder races. My co-commentator tonight will be Deathlike, and tracking is Scythe Marshall, and Esgrunt is our restreamer. How are you doing tonight, Deathlike?
Doing well. Just I saw Bacchus Club, and I'm like, oh, so Zerk. Is it Quint? Is it Quint? And I can't tell you how much I want to see Quint. So can't you tell Quint? So yeah, this flag set really interesting. It could be wild times because it sounds like a bar fight just happened. Hey, I want to fight my nemesis, and I'm gonna drink to it. Yeah, and that's a lot. That's cool. However, for characters, so we have to. We wish you could give them juice boxes, but friendly characters, Pelham, Perome, Radia. Unfortunately, even though Radia can grow up, they can't join us. They can't. There's an age requirement, and we kind of need adults in the room, so they're not going to participate.
Serious things, but better drink responsibly. Like these racers probably will not. If they give me 30 Bacchus, a couple of edges, Crystal Sword Cecil, and yeah, I'll be taking a lot of drinks and going fast. There are free characters and relaxed characters, so there could be foos, there could be edges. If you just walk into Mysidia, for all you know, you'll just be given a pair of edges and just charge up the mountain to give yourself a paladin. Lots of fun.
Yeah, though probably DKC starting means we'll need a little bit of help. So I don't know what to come in the form of, but whoever is the partner probably will need to carry, unless it's a Edward, in which case then you hope for an early dancing dagger. There's some other flags we'll be seeing. I think will be some commonly seen, like warp, life, and the back row glitch, because hey, what is Berserkers without that? And we've solved our magic problem.
Yes, and we also have underground access, so we could go anywhere. All we have to do is just find the Dark Knight, and we have like 15 locations available to us. Oh no.
Choices. Yeah, those are just difficult. I think early on, with the early magma key, yeah, magma key, the thing we've been missing since the last league. That will be really important. You might as well cash in on trying to on your looting. That might be the first place to start. And although our runners have decided, no, let's power up Fu. So let's
power up Fu, and who knows? Maybe we'll just get a crystal and have to figure out Zeromus. But that's a wyvern.
It's fine. Witchburn is on, so we won't get full Blark unless it's Blark. And
wyvern.
It's fine. We'll just wait for Nuke to happen soon.
But with the Fu agility, it's an early game. Outside the waterfall, Fu can outspeed most locations dramatically. So 3 spells, nothing useful so far. Mist Cave has Eblin levels of loot, so can pick up a couple good things potentially. And Potato is heading straight to the free key item to figure out what we have.
I mean, the trifecta would be having darkness. And why can't we wish it into existence? Darkness would just open up the seat even more. Where could the Dark Knight be? Well, if you have darkness,
having
yeah.
more bosses. Oh, I don't hate it. Charm Stick is the second best weapon you'll likely find for a Fusoya. Plus 10 Wisdom gives that little extra kick in that Fu's nukes and spells need. And we're heading over to start collecting some of the characters and also high tier loot in Watery Pass. Watery Pass.
Yeah, I do like this looting place. A little compact. You get a free character. I mean, this is, not everyone buys into this location, but hey, we have vanilla because, hey, why not? But not sure how much value Atella is at this point, given that you have a Fu. At some point, I mean, they're about the same, but I guess we can make him an anchor.
Yep, he'll work. All you need is to keep him on the floor in a ninja hat or crystal ring or a curse ring. Burkhead loots the public side. The three big finds were a black sword for Cecil. Helps get you through a couple early fights until Fu's online, and a white spear of Cain shows up at some point. And Potato, even with the magma key, still wants to know the character choices. Races the hovercraft, gets a Sid.
Yeah, for teams when you have Fu, you probably don't have to, but although you have to kill some bosses to get Fu online, as that's the free enterprise kind of the thing for Fu. So trying to figure out your other characters tends to be very helpful. I mean, DKC needs a little help. Fu also needs a little help. So it's like kind of a lot of things can't just work on their own, but I think Sid will solidify some damage until we find like an edge. Sid is pretty solid early on, not damage at least above average for a while, till we reach a point where diminishing returns late game, where he can serve as second anchor, but I mean he can serve as like a tank too. Sometimes as DKC on the prowl, you need the HP to take on DKC to just survive the fight. So Sid might be that choice to keep around.
The other things that helps keep Sid relevant late game, give him an Artemis bow, Artemis arrows. Yes, Artemis, Rosa with a heroin robe, very good. But Sid's natural strength growth is so high, he is in fact probably the best wielder of those equipment. And with enough levels, it is still very good damage for Zeronis. Plus, if we get an early, let's just say DKC is just in Fabul and we get a darkness, that would be go mode. He does get to reasonable HP levels soon for whatever strat of choice our runners choose.
Yeah, it definitely has some utility. It's not the same, but it's not the same kind of utility. You punch hard early. Can be serviceable if you do get that weapons. Yeah, he turns into kind of your white mage of choice if you have a tier 3 potion. I'm not sure we have found any yet, but seeing the CPU at this location, this is there's gonna be a fortress slog. Although the sacrifice is good, that's a nice use of Sid.
Shout out to what I believe was Fu dodging Globe 199. We got the text box, but no one was dead, so not much magic, but pretty good job. And we also see John doing a similar strat with Fu, and we'll hopefully finish up the damage with the Black Sword.
Yeah, I think we saw a duplicate Cecil on Mount Hobbs earlier with Alt Gauntlet. That didn't interest John Burkhead. So so Potato will immediately find out and might reset out of it. No one wants to fight Alt Gauntlet unless you want the levels. Actually, our group party really doesn't need levels, ironically, at least at this point. Cecil not being a paladin, not gonna gain any real value there.
But 2 spells is still nice. As long as it doesn't have any of the Spirit Fire ones, will at least make it a decent fight. You also have, oh wait, we don't have J abilities, so no Dark Wave, which would potentially help speed up if you don't quite get the kill at like this scenario.
Yeah, without J abilities, a few characters are affected. I think really Yang is affected the most because sometimes you don't want to trigger certain counterattacks. Like you want to use his like charge up punch on like an antline per se. An antline would attack to a normal punch, so using that command would avoid the counterattack. So something like that would affect someone like Yang more. Not too many characters kind of lose too much functionality with that command, with those J commands disabled.
The big one in the normal flag set who you really enjoy the J abilities is Palom, but due to his age, he will not be joining us tonight, so the lack of bluff will not affect us. A little bit of shopping in for Bool. Blizzard Spear, not bad, but White Spear typically better. Odds are if you end up with the Ruby, Fu will end up having the solution at some point. So, nothing too helpful in this shop, but Poison Axe Black Belt Sid is ready to hit things.
Yeah, Sid's definitely going to be at least carrying this for a while till we head up more deals. 3 bosses that will power up Fu quickly. So, I think, at least in this flag set, the Super Smith and the Spoon is enabled. So that should help if an Edward shows up, or maybe, get a decent weapon, from Super Smith, like maybe a Gigant X. So that might, and which would help Sid or Cecil, and the Kane if a Kane shows up.
Are we going to see the Berserk glitch where we Zerk someone with the Gigant Axe, unequip it, and then equip it on someone else, Zerk them, unequip it on a third person, and have triple Gigant Axe wielders? That'd be a fun fight.
Yeah, that's fun. When you exploit functionality of Berserk as it is, especially when you have the Avenger around, that also helps a lot. And Party Rock Central, we might see some looting.
Yeah. You could either head there now, grab the loot, and then see what you get to help your party, or you could consider activating your Cecil in hopes of and getting 3 spells in hopes of maybe being able to just go and grab the treasury and keep heading up Zot the entire time. And that's the second Tella at the second location you would get Tella in the vanilla game. Yay!
More vanilla, whee!
But both runners hitting up ordeals, that's pretty reasonable play. 3 spells, or 9 spells, and a paladin. Sign me up.
Yeah, I think we'll probably aim to ditch one of the extra Tellas at some point. Having a second Cecil, not the worst thing, but second Tella, not as useful. But if you get some good gear, like some white shirts, maybe a life staff, and then you can have a serviceable white mage. Maybe some summer drops, but we find the free fight here. Not the ideal spot for a free fight, as this spot usually pretty tame. So, but hey, might as well get a free fight over with. Try to kill King Evelyn, as dispatching him will allow the queen to kind of disappear, because King disappears, queen in her basket disappears as well when she's alone.
Both runners attempting to kill. Not certain if we'll manage to get it in time, but John Burkhead looks at the 2 Tellas and decides they don't both need to get XP, do they? And decides to keep one on the floor to ensure he stays at 8 agility.
it's interesting. John Burkhead deciding to take advantage of the middle slot with the Sid. Poison Axe having low accuracy, 60% accuracy. Middle slot allows for accuracy boosts for both spells and weapons. So the Sid is actually being a lot more productive for John Burkhead, whereas where Potato not taking advantage of that, though it will help whatever spells the Fu in the middle cast, like a stone or weak, which is pretty useful if we end up doing a D machine grind. Hope not to do it, but it's always on the table.
If you need levels fast, that is a method. However, with double Cecil in hand, I don't expect the runners to be doing that. And I bet both of our runners are very, very, very happy that the blue robes are in the two spots they are, as opposed to swapping places. If you thought it was tough fire wanting an alt gauntlet, back attack makes it even more annoying with Fu learning the alt gauntlet spell of choice with Quake.
Yeah, Quake is great, but we've already seen alt gauntlet, so no worries there. And we have to look what that a key item is, and it's probably, hopefully, some dark. No, part of Forge, unfortunately.
Well, that's half of the Supersmith item we're hoping to go and see. Sasuke's katana, if we get some edges, would still also be interesting. And nope, it is not a BKC at the change room, just an Ashura who will be happy to go and use the newly acquired Quake. John, having not done the alt gauntlet, will not have Quake, but Ice 2 will still be enough, and getting Quake from this fight still works.
Yeah, it's only 1,000 HP at the spot, so shouldn't require too much help to dispatch Azura. We don't. I mean, typically we.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Fabul. That's the diff. He still did an extra spot with Fool that Potato still needs to do. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's an equalizer. Sometimes sometimes you take a fight that you in a different location. You still probably have to do Fabul at some point, so not too concerned. Probably difference of routing choices and character. One of the character picked up more than the Fabul gauntlet, so whatever. It's choices were made.
And we also learned stone, so with Quake and with the multiple stone casters, we have solutions to all three of the trap chests, and it's T Wildish, and it's Evelyn, and we have 2 Cecils. Time to play the lottery.
I actually like this lottery. You have 4 chances of casting stone. I mean, who some runners would tell you that stone is a terrible spell because it just isn't reliable. I'm in the boat as you have a Fu, you have 2 Fu, you have 2 Fus and 2 Tellas. I mean, no, so it's 1 Fu and 2 Tellas. That's still more than enough. I like this lottery. Let's play this lottery.
A Charm Rod Fu in the center slot, pretty reasonable odds. Tella, little less accurate, and off slot makes it completely less accurate. John heads to Mysidia to finish checking out characters, and we see a big one with Edge and the other Edge. Ooh, light sword.
That'll get at least 1 Cecil online. That's not, that you can't ignore. Having the 2 Tellas makes sense. I mean, the Edge will probably benefit unless no Hanzo Steel shows up. Edward, since we don't have the spoon, Edward, sorry, kinda, nope, sorry. Maybe later.
Is something to be said about the fact that we're hunting a Dark Knight Cecil, and that is in fact one of Edward's specialties. But unless it's in a very, very rude location, we have Fu, we have Sid, we have Cecil. That's a lot of HP.
I think looks like vanilla character at another location. Although ha 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 is the word of the day. Although it could be a DKC behind that. You never know. But John Burkett decides not interested. So go someplace else. More potato looting. I think the looting is. I mean, the looting is basically for Cecil. So if you're gambling for the ultimate burr, I'm all for it. So it's worth the time.
Just a white shirt. I don't remember what the other two chests were. However, I believe this is I think it's rare, like 25% chance that T. Wildish Evelyn did not have a holy sword.
You can also, if at least for John Burkhead, he hasn't done Castle Evelyn yet. But you probably want some good Hanzo steel. So a defense sword, that's certainly certainly a decent weapon. So it's not the swords we really want, but it makes Cecil online. So in free enterprise, instead of giving the legend sword as a key item, a silver staff is used, and it's not a weapon that strikes the fear in the hearts of monsters. So
I feel you, Potato. Walks in, looks at Golbez, walks out. Both runners have made a choice to fade the Yang. John decides to go and get that one more spell before chasing the Earth Crystal, where Potato, with the starting Magma Key, has to continue to fade for Bull for just a bit longer at least. We'll see if he goes there shortly.
The choice to fade Golbez is an interesting one by itself. First, Yang being there doesn't really interest your runners. I mean, you have two Cecils, you have a lot of Zerker power there with the Sid. I mean, they don't really. You can take fourth Zerker, but that doesn't spark that much joy. But it's the Golbez that is going to just kind of hold up the fight, and that's where the hesitation is. Seeing the fade makes a lot of sense until. And seeing the loot coming from the treasury, I'm already saying it's I think it's 8 out of 10. White Spear out of 10, because that was, except we don't have a cane, so never mind. Scratch that.
It gave a power shirt. It gave a crystal ring. The arty bow is very good. The dwarf axe allows you to instantly back row any of the characters that you need except Edge. Very good. Outside of potential lack of holy swords, I don't recall if it's max tier 7 or not. But outside of a Cecil weapon, which John, I believe, is still missing, it was a very nice treasure.
Maybe I guess I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't so bad. At least you came out with something usable. Just not.
Hey, weapons. It's Night Lion at Dwarf 1. Nope, I missed the jump. It's Leviathan.
Yeah. The spry old man. And there's also a character check following this. But this spot will have surprising amounts of spell power. It's the stats that Leviathan will have here is based off of the big doll, the Kalbrenna, and that doll has a surprising amount of spell power. So,
yeah, the spells will hurt. With the HP totals, it's likely that most characters will survive only a little, and with Quakes going out, a couple defense sword Cecils, we'll get through pretty fast. However, it's not the worst, but it's not the easiest, and it's not the Dark Knight Cecil we all want, that the runners all want to find. John, heading up Zot, finds the Dark Elf, so that is very much a weapon we would have liked even a light sword for, but we have Edge. Edge is doing 1,000. Fight will end soon.
I'm surprised we're not using the prodigal spell that this whole club is using. Where is the berserk? Let's get Edge drunk and we found a gain for that white spear that we'll probably won't use. Looks like Potato. It's like no, but you weren't here early enough for the white spear. You can go. Sorry.
Potato also did not find either the treasury white spear or the public treasury white spear, so he has a defense sword and a light sword unless that was sold, but we have two Cecils. Outside of Abel's land, Sid does have a more likely chance of being that bigger hitter.
Yeah, the cap on Kane without Supersmith is unfortunately kind of like meddling. It's like it's not terrible, but not great at the same. So and we have do you want third tell? We'll find out who's behind that door under the strong. Yeah,
I want second food. It's a hook. That's 2 more boss checks. I wonder when the runners decide to check that.
Probably immediately, at least for a character check. I mean, you get not to say that we're gonna do the hook route, but the free character might be worthwhile, especially given the current party constitution. Maybe try to see what you can replace maybe the Sid, because the tell is there, so you probably could just ditch one or the other if that was something of interest. But maybe we'll get a visit to Drop Dwarf. Otherwise, this seed not validated.
And trying for the off-slot stone. We'll see how that goes. Goes for a second one, also no quakes, and it's a miss. And yeah. Possum life.
Yeah, the moment where 2 stones didn't work. Yeah. There's always
one
third stone.
Where in the world did we find an hourglass one, I want?
Probably from looting. I don't think we've I can't usually pick up I don't think Jadam's in shops typically. We found Nuke, so our foods are totally online.
John has the double nuke foo, and Potato has the double defense towards Cecil, with a side of an edge for John. So both runners full of power, and that's another boss check with the Luca key and a boss.
The real boss of this game, inventory boss, because you have a lot of junk. That's how it shows up. There are games where you collect all the items and then special boss shows up because you can't hold all your loot. They won't let you hold all your loot. Inventory boss tells you, sell your junk, your leather robes, your shadow swords, that junk. They can go. They sell them all. All sales are final.
Yeah, hope you didn't accidentally click on Crystal Sword, but at least you have money if you did. No bosses in the Fey March. It is K summon, so they may be required. However, at this moment, Potato's still pushing through lots of checks available left to him, so didn't feel like his party was time to take on much.
Yeah, with the flag set, there is no K Moon on, so you're not really incentivized to do a Moon Dive. So for our runners, they're thinking, hoping that the moon is haunted, but unless our boss is literally on the moon in one of those spots, in the lunar subterranean, not K Value, but the lunar subterranean spots, then we're hoping that we're hoping full moon haunted or not.
There are 8 moon spots. That's just under 25%. It's not unreasonable if you get the darkness to just rush up there and face check it. About a 3-minute walk to the bottom, another 2 for the rest to see all the bosses. That's about 6 minutes to go and see 6 bosses. That's not terrible efficiency.
Probably want to do that if you have no other choice. I mean, this is technically a boss hunt, but we're like, it's kind of a needle in a haystack. There are 34 spots with 35 bosses possible. So I mean, there's always that low chance that the boss is not in the nicest of places, and there are nice places like Pack of Giant in the CPU spot. So the places they can be, and you can imagine, and they can be there. That's just how the sea can be rolled.
Yeah. John, I believe, with the crystal ring and possibly even a ribbon from the treasury, decides it's time to go back to Baron Inn. It is not DKC, just a demist with no key item, but it is a pan. So he, although not single dip the Bool, will be able to single dip Sylph Cave. And that's with Sheila 1 having the other part of Forge. We might get to go and see what that ends up giving. It'll be lots of fun. Or it won't.
Super Smith. I mean, it doesn't. There is no unless you have a Sea Hero on. There is no tailoring to who can possibly be in your party. So it can be just. It could be valuable. Of course, there are some nice, value items like. I'm trying to remember. Flandango. That's a sword. That's not a great sword, but it's a sword.
So it's for all your pink puff hunting needs with its anti-flan. Have you ever had a full physical party at the Tower of Zot and you just see an alt gauntlet and run into the flans, look at your inventory, find no J items, decide to swing your weapon and then end up with 1 damage? Oh no.
That's the moment where you wish Kane was in your party with a spear that had magic on it. That's the only panic moment. Yeah, those, and I'm sure those have happened. With a full berserker seed, if no food, no tela, there would be some panic because it's just like I can't complete it. And it doesn't happen too often, but sometimes a confluence of seed flags can make a journey like that painful.
Yeah, Potato doing at least the easy chest finds the flame dog in its natural habitat, the flame dog chest. 1 nuke later, maybe we'll find a holy sword. And the pan bonk gives us a defense sword. So 1 Cecil, 1 Cecil-ish weapon for John, helps even that power, and just a ninja star for Potato.
I always do like the flame dog check when you're kind of really in the need of finding that holy sword. It's not a hard fight. It's actually pretty quick. Though you'll still probably take some damage either way, but it's a free fight and it's on the way. So if you gamble and gamble right, sometimes you get rewarded, and treasures, trap chests tend to have decent rewards. So you can't. Sometimes it's worth that gamble, and once you get burr, sometimes more burr shows up. So you never know, but only takes 1.
The pan gives us the tower key, so we're still potentially on track for a required Golbez. We'll see. Have to keep an eye on that. But with John also being given the other part of Forge, we'll have to see if he ends up rushing to it.
at this point, probably DKC is probably like on the moon at this point, or at least somewhere buried in the underground. We haven't looked at all the locations, so there's still plenty of time. But right now, it's really the person, the runner who finds a darkness crystal, because you still need access to Z. Now, whether you find a pass is a different story, but I think the runner that finds the darkness crystal will probably have an edge. No pun intended, to in the seed, because you'll get whatever the access that's required, but also
it is no super sniff, just our friendly old X-Cal, and we are set there.
Well, I guess at least it's a holy blade. It's kind of, it's not the best one, but why not? We're next best, and it's still stronger than whatever Kane can hold. So it's kind of really required.
With 8 spots on the moon and 9 spots left unchecked by either runner, we are down. It's getting close to a 50-50 whether the boss is moon or earthbound.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to consider grinding a little bit. There isn't really the only reason to grind is really to get Cecil a decent HP pool, but I almost think you probably get him to a serviceable level fighting bosses without having to grind. We'll see what our runners will do. I don't think we'll do anything like a D machine grind, but like a number of scrambled eggs for just the few XP for just the Cecils, no one else.
Yeah.
And that will probably get kind of amplify the power of the X-Cal that John Burke at least has access to.
And John has decided to looked at Dwarf, realized it didn't have a key item, or could have a key item but didn't have the boss, and has decided to go to the tower instead. Maybe back with the warp glitch, the 2 checks, it is helpful, but if there's no value in the hook, then Fading Dwarf could be a very nice play to gain some time on potential opponents.
Yeah, but we still have the Luca key, so we still have to find the boss. So if the boss is lodged in say the sealed cave, then doing the trick will probably decide. But hey, super item for Edward. But at this point I don't. Maybe if he replace this, I haven't checked Potato's team, but maybe you can replace the Sid. Maybe get the glass cannon. No, you got 2 Cecils. You can cover him.
Yes, Spoonward would be good, but also Potato has decided his party is good enough and has made no sign of has not appeared to want to go into Mysidia to check the characters, so is lacking the edge and potential Spoonward because of that. Both runners in the tower, however, due to the Golbez play, only one of them is currently with the tower key, so if there's value in that, that's a big help to John. Oh, Golbez is required.
Of course, it's always the brother. It's the brother's fault. That's what it is.
The older brother was just testing you to make sure you were ready to face DKC. It's fine, but does John decide to go and fight the top of tower boss in hopes of darkness, or does he gamble that tower key holds multiple forms of value?
Well, I'll probably have to look at. Probably worth at least going to the top of tower to fight whatever's there, just to ensure that you don't miss anything. So I think it's going to be worth doing that. And Cal Brenna, we're not going to care because we're not doing hook route. But Mom Bomb up there, not fun at all.
Potato is at 9 key items and at 8, so even with the crystal. So if it's the pass, it's not likely we'll end up with 10 key items for any sort of mini grind. But if it's the darkness crystal and the tower key also has a key item, all it takes is 2 for John, and all it takes for Potato is 1, which will be the crystal or tower key or pan.
Yeah, a lot of runners. At this stage, we have like almost 10 key items, which is the magic number to get double XP for the grind. And obviously, anytime when you have double XP on the table, it obviously speeds up your grind by at least half the time. So we have an adamant of that's thanks. That's not what we need, but really nice.
So at this point, Potato's choices are growing slimmer. There's Baron Inn, there's the Fey March, and then there's Luca for the boss, however with Warp Glitch no key item. So it'll be interesting if Potato continues to hold with his fate of Baron Inn for the Fey March, or if he goes to the almost certainly easier fights.
Well, you have to look at this. Looking at it, that the Baron in option is easier. But if you really just want to go straight complete fade, then the Fey March looks a lot more appealing because you have two bosses there. So that would be something Potato would probably do in consequence of avoiding it. So, but looks like Luca might be the play. Yeah, that looks like
a boss check. You certainly have the power. Might as well make it. However, it will not lead to any future progression for Potato.
Still have to find the darkness crystals though. That's darkness crystal a pass. So it's still those are still on the table. So like, even though John Burkhead has the crystal, still needs the darkness crystal or pass to do work with.
Which it's either Tower Key or Fey March is what we know, but John still has the Dwarf and Luca checks available. So we'll see where he goes after this if the darkness or pass is not the reward.
Yeah, some runners don't like taking a peek at Sealed Cave. It's a nice walk. It's not trivial, but and if you have warp, makes for a nice getaway because exit doesn't work. You can warp in certain areas up except to the exit or from the bottommost levels. So those that's a Baron key. So that's another hole. It might not be worth digging unless the darkness is there, which we still don't know. It's completely at large. And that was a free fight, but Potato not fading it because it's not the boss, not the required boss.
And goes and holds to his fade of Baron Inn, heads to the Fey March to fight at least one of the fights. With the knowledge of where Dark Knight Cecil is, the best thing for Potato is there to be no value here and it to be behind the Baron key, because that forces him to fight the DKC. Otherwise, he's going to be looking towards a very late DKC find, most likely.
That was an interesting just for package, but we don't but that's not, there's no kind of value in that. Demist Hunt is off, but I think we found Demist, but Bedward was a thing, so this seed, so Demist not required for anything. Looks like the egg grind is on. John has picked up the 10th key item, so the time to grind is now.
Tries for the off-slot stone method, but saving the white spear dart. and going just for the move. Potato starts with the Mylon at Athra. With the strength on his party, pretty easy fight. However, outside those will do if you don't have lightning resistance. A not unreasonable amount of damage for just being a tier 1 elemental.
But it's a high spell power. Azura does have a reasonably significant, so there is some reasonable spell power. So if the more wizard type armor equipped, you're more likely to resist lightning 1. But when you have, like, say, all the Zerker type equipment, we're talking about like ninja hat, power robe, strength ring, then you're probably taking quite a bit of damage. So that Tella probably not wearing very much in the form of equipment, taking that much damage. It's can be surprising in some areas if you don't have any magic defense to speak of. So, but once in a while he does shock.
That's one form of Zeromus access. However, it is not. So it is not the darkness crystal, which
that's a go mode,
which is good for Potato, but
this is
that we are in no mode.
This is no mode, sir. I thought for a moment I thought John Brecker did. No, it's Potato. So that's interesting, but that means that darkness is at large. Could be. Wonder if it's just right next to each other. That could be fun.
It gives Zeromus access, which if you had the crystal at this point, and this was darkness, it's which fight did you take? Did you take the 3-minute walk, or did you take the past walk? And just queue up double Meteo, back row, at least one adamant armor. Should almost certainly be able to get both off, which will finish the fight pretty fast.
Yes.
And even some Bacchus wine as well.
It's the name of the league. It's the name of the club. I mean, drink.
But the lure of double key item is strong, so Jean is finishing up Dwarf. We'll get the hook, we'll get the rat tail, we'll then get the spoon, but then we'll have to head to the Feymarch or Baron Castle.
Yeah, fading Feymarch is a thing because typically the boss is in the spot, the Juror spot, high in magic. Leviathan spot, high in punchability. With that in mind, Potato love double rocks because hey, you got the foos, you gotta do it for the swag. Plus, Cindy in the middle has a truckload of HP, so you have to kind of eat through a lot of that.
It is not the double, and that is beneficial for Potato because all he has to do is head to Golbez, turn in Pan, and go through Tower Key for Zeromus. John still needs to find which of the Baron locations holds the darkness, or go and fight the Mylon. Either way, it's impossible to go to the moon without having the crystal.
Yeah, so probably have to do Baron if you're gonna like do a hard fade of Feymarch, which has the pass. Then Baron is where it's at. So that's probably what John is thinking. Probably we'll have to turn in the pink tail first, but otherwise we'll probably move on to Baron. Because we'll find out. He'll find out. Hey, this pink tail might not be worth it. So we'll,
and with darkness only being able to hold one key item, it's not unreasonable that we find one of the two Baron check. So the Baron path, although it's the one you likely need to go on, it isn't necessarily the quickest route.
Apparently that's John's current option, but it has to be here at least, or it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be this. Like, there's still one key item that leads into something else, so it could be at harp. So it could be whatever key item it's the key item that leads to harp that has the darkness crystal in the dark elf cave. So that could be what could happen, but right for now, wherever leads to darkness is a Baron.
And quick mini spell, Cecil's won't be able to punch, but as long as any food survives, we'll clear the Golbez and second spot real fast. We'll just have to see how RNG dictates, / if we have a ribbon on food.
Yeah, we're just so Potato's taking advantage of kind of status priority in terms for magic. So that hold gas would normally paralyze everything, but since size has a greater priority, it won't be applied. Death, it demolishes instant death, so you can't avoid it because death is highest priority, so you can't avoid that. But there are statuses that are higher than paralysis that you kind of want to take advantage of, something like poison. Not berserk, but poison is definitely one of them, which is pretty good go-to. Mute,
Piggy, and Size are also good ones. Mute and Venom are the ones you'll commonly do if you don't know you're fighting Golbez. Piggy and Size are the ones you'll often find if you know you're going into a Golbez fight. I believe Toad is also an option, but you can't do magic or punching, so it's typically the last resort.
Yeah, you sometimes for some runners you probably want to do that before the battle with Piggy or Size, so that, and since Potato already knows there's a Golbez, we have the spell that helps. Venom and Mute are often chosen only because they're low level spells that are easily accessible, although for the characters that can spell cast, they already have the spells, so they don't need levels.
John has decided what's a physical fighter and has taken third food in replacement of Power Shirt X Cal Cecil.
Well, we're just moving the equipment onto only Cecil now. So one Cecil, 3 foos, and a Tella. I mean, yeah, that could get hairy pretty quickly.
It looks, I think it's Edge 3 foos and a Tella, I believe. So we're going nuke, and nope. That's darkness.
Wow.
So both runners are rapidly approaching go mode. All John has to do is raise the well, walk to Zeromus, and blow it up with the power of microwaves. Whereas Potato still needs to turn in the pan and head into the tower, but will have the pass. It's going to be tight, but I think John will have about a minute and a half advantage on the walk to Zeromus.
Starting to what? I mean, from fighting Z at this point, I'm thinking reflex strats, but I'm wondering what the kind of the MP curative situation, ethers, elixirs, because while Fu is kind of like all-in-one mage, and you can't live without. But even having 3 foos, that's still not a lot of MP to go around. It's a lot of nukes.
If you expect close to 5,000, you're guaranteed at least 9 nukes. So that's about 45,000 with an X-Cow and a Spoon Dart from Edge should be able to go and push enough damage there, and a couple viruses. that can help finish off if need be. So there should be able to be enough damage with this ability, but it could be a little tight.
Yeah, because you have to worry about the big bangs, the healing that you have to follow up with. It's not something. I mean, the resources will be pretty tight for sure, unless we find another foo. Is it another foo? No, it's not. What to say? Fourth foo?
And I'm not certain that fourth foo would be a benefit because Spoon and X Cow is at least quicker damage than what we're going to see from another Fusoya. As long as you can, if you can count, you can finish it off with the spoon, even in reflex strats. So should be helpful, but we have a tower key fight and a walkout, and we have a walk down. I don't know who's going to win.
Well, Potato gets the news. Hey, it's been here all along, gated by Funny Man. So yeah, that's that. So our runners always feel behind when they find out of the epiphany. Oh, I could have been here much earlier. And if my opponent gets this item before me, then the clock is ticking. So it will be certainly be a race for Potato. Having the pass in hand, so they'll be pretty close. At least try to get to the Z fight. Though probably Potato will be delayed because there'll be the pickup of the key item leaving the tower.
Yeah, Potato does not have any time, any run, is what it looks like. However, yeah, we'll see. John's heading over to the save room, so just about a minute left on his walk. So with the cutscene, we're almost certainly going to have at least dueling Zeromus fights with multiple different strats. Double Cecil versus double Cecil, double Foo, or triple Foo, single Edge. But setting up, you can go Veil, White, Nuke, Nuke, Dart, Nuke, 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 Dart. Lots of fun. But unfortunately, I don't believe we'll...
That adamant pickup, I almost forget where that was. The adamant pickup will probably make essentially the first food that is available for John to be really reasonably tanky. So
Potato is taking a detour to grab the X Cow. It's going in, so it's still going to play him a little bit, but it's definitely going to make a much safer Z5. Adamant X Cow Cecil is significantly better than Defense Sword X Adamant Cecil. And if you go and do the glitch right, maybe we'll be setting up Adamant X Cow Cecil and Power X Cow Cecil. We'll see if he determines that to be of worth.
I think I see these flags. I think the chat is telling us we need to go to bed. It's past many of the old men's bedtime that at least I see on the screen. But no, that's not what it means. Zeromus, that infamous boss. He's gone through a lot of changes over the years. But Z honestly likes to cosplay because Z changed. Because this is a randomizer, and we like to randomize things. And one of the things you can do make Z look different because we can, and we will. So I guess the question has to be asked. Joe, would you like to ask the question?
Why not? Who is Zeromus going to turn into, and whose butt are we going to kick tonight? That's a dragon that has a random hole in the side of it.
It's from Mega Man 1 or 2. It's one of the Mega Mans, the early Mega Mans. Can't hard to forget this. Hard to forget the face. And we're definitely going full reflex strats. Although
that may be the adamant wielder, or it might just be Foo. Hard to tell the difference sometimes.
the stock Fu equipment is pretty tanky for a Z fight. You basically get initial three multiplier. So, and with the spell multiplier on Z's nuke being 4, reducing it all to 1 multiplier is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah. With that nerf, all of these characters will definitely survive. We're seeing about 6,000 per nuke. We just did 10,000 with the spoon. I believe John Burkhead has fight well and should be able to push damage without seeing the second big bang.
Yeah. So one of the thing about reflex strats is it doesn't trigger a counter. Probably unintended consequence. Probably trying to prevent some probably possible soft locking if counters were reflected and kind of repeated and some such, because this game is coded really well, right? It's because Z doesn't counter. So in one of the counters is usually the HP refill when he reaches something under like 10,000, 20,000 under the first form. He does an HP refill that you may notice in the fight. Well, we're bypassing that with all the reflected nukes and trying to kill Z, and there Z goes.
GG's to John Burkhead. He has finished the race in first place with an official time of 18 minutes and 18 seconds. GG's to him.
Yeah, GG's. When you have all those foos, you can't say no.
And we are joined by the winner of this club race tonight. GG's. Well-run race.
Thank you.
How do you feel about the seed? Was it everything you could have hoped for when you started?
I feel like I didn't quite lock into the real nature of the seed. Bacchus, when there's no Rydia, no Porm, no Palm, supposed to be, I think, like a lot of melee damage, but when there's 3 foos, you do what you gotta do. It was fun. It was a fun seed. It's kind of a mix of Blue Moon a little bit with the boss hunt, plus with the free characters. And then with the Foo start, and Foo was fully kitted, it almost had like some Red Moon aspects to it as well. So it was fun.
Glad you enjoyed it, and you definitely showcased that you know how to use a Foo. So initially you looked at Baron Inn, you saw and you decided to leave. What made you decide that wasn't the fight then, and what also made you decide to return a little bit later?
It just, you're looking for literally one boss, and quite frankly, I forgot that I had a ribbon. And I don't remember if I had the crystal ring at that point. But I figured get a few more spells, let me go do Zod, and Zod's gonna go ahead and drop me off there anyway. And then once I had like second Foo, I was like, all right, well, we'll be able to go ahead and kind of get through this. And with Foo, with a couple more set of spells on there, I think he had Quake already. But just basically remember that I had the ribbon. I'm like, all right, I can go ahead and get set up here with the crystal ring. I can make sure Foo goes first and kills Tell, although he would have been fast enough anyway, I guess. It just didn't feel like the time to go ahead and do that at that particular moment.
Fair enough, and it definitely worked out in your favor. You ended up having the crystal much earlier than Zeroma. How worried were you feeling as you continued to do checks and still did not end up finding a method to fight Zeromus? Yeah,
not too worried. When it's only K main and K summon, there's only so many things left. And you have 2 options. You have the pass or you have the darkness crystal. And with only 2 Foos, but with some darts, I was ready to go full-blown Foo and Friends. And then we found the third one. I was like, okay, we could just go ahead and go reflect here, and we'll be fine. I felt like maybe I should have just gone to Baron right away, kind of follow, because I don't know how many people were going to do Pan before anything else. I was hoping to either get the Legend Sword or to get, just an X-Cal or a Crystal Sword from the Bonk, because with a decent edge, darts, and 2 foos, do you really need to spend the time down in Evelyn? And I feel like that routing might have been, somewhat unique. And so that led me to Baron. So I was on the fence about should I just chase Baron right away. So I wasn't really too worried about it until I decided to go ahead and do Dwarf, because I faded it. Because with the Zot check, you get to see the Dwarf 2 boss, and when I saw that Dwarf 1 was just Goliath, I pieced. But then when I was on a key item hunt, it's like, all right, well, it's faster to get both key items from Dwarf, and you're already down here, so just go ahead and do it. When that zonked, I felt like I lost my advantage a little bit, so then I got a little bit worried. But found it at Baron, and it all worked out.
That it did. Deathlake, do you have any questions for John?
I think I think you found when your 10 key item visiting Feymarch for getting the package. Did you have any thought to just taking a look at the bosses? Yeah, even though you need to look for a way to get to Z, but you didn't have, and obviously you found darkness at the end. But did you even think of trying to look at the bosses at Feymarch? Because it happened that I think it was I think it was Mylon's spot that had the pass, at the Jura spot.
Oh, nope. I was thinking 1200 strats, and I wanted to avoid grinding. And even with 2 foos, well, like I said, I ended up with the adamant eventually. But with 2 foos, you might have to do a little bit of grinding there. I didn't want to do that at all. I was just looking for the fastest possible checks. And in my mind, that's what that was. So I had made a decision to go ahead and kind of last location Feymarch.
No, that's fine. There's only a couple options, and you last location, effectively the last location, the darkness, so it made sense. It's worked out.
Yeah, got a little lucky, I guess.
Yeah, the only other possible chains left would be if there was Twin Harp at the Baron basement and that had darkness. That would have probably been the biggest punish for not doing the Feymarch fights. A little faster to do one Feymarch fight than all of Baron and Harp, but just having to do the Baron castle itself is not too bad of a difference. Pretty outside the walk, pretty reasonable either way. And with the lack of grinding, it definitely worked out.
Yeah, and I feel like the K main checks are more likely to go ahead and spring key items than otherwise. Speaking of music, go ahead and put it on. Yeah, I felt pretty good about the routing, and felt like everything kind of made sense. It's tricky as to when to go to ordeals versus not. When you have a starting Cecil, and Fu got Quake pretty early, but he didn't really get any like legitimate black magic spells for a while. And then I got really lucky at Babul, because the Lunars were there and he had just gotten Cure 3. I'm like, oh, I guess I did get an offensive spell. Okay, let's go. Yeah, fun little seed. It was a good time.
Yay! Very glad to have you here with us tonight, and hope you end up having very glad to have you here with us tonight, and
I'm going to bed.
Hope you
I gotta be up at 5. I'm a little tired, but thank you both so much for doing the comms. Can't wait to listen back. Esprem for restreaming, Scythe Marshall for tracking, and Gilmont for coming up with this very, very fun idea. It's really nice to see, after a long tournament grind, just seeing the creativity from the community and the variety and the different flag sets with all the asyncs and all the different races and community clubs, and it's such a fun time. I tend to focus on tournament season, but I'm really starting to appreciate the diversity that is not tournament season. So this is a lot of fun. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night, guys.
GG's again, John.
GG's, take care.
And Potato suffered a wipe with his first attempt, but will hopefully fare a little bit better with this.
Yeah, I think trying hybrid strats probably, when you're trying to run reflect any sort of reflect strats, sometimes you want to run it under like a slower speed, like battle speed 3, where you have a little more leeway and control over over the Z fight, and that typically even though berserkers are usually clogging the queue, you still have to cast they still have to cast magic, and magic through menuing takes a little bit of time that would be given to Z if you at BS1 that you don't get back, and you kind of lose pretty quickly, and
It appears
doesn't
we're
work.
starting to see the MP issue, but thankfully Adamant Cecil dodged a Meteo and 2, and Potato is through. GG's to Potato. He finished in 3rd place with a time of 107. In between the runners was Morpheus, 05:48. GG's to Possum as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the early wipe, but can't always get big bangs roll your way. It happens quite a bit.
Here we are, joined by Potato, our 3rd place finisher. GG's Potato. How do you feel about Steve?
That was fun. I wish I hadn't avoided Golbez, I guess, so long. Of course, that was going to happen once I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to do him last. So, last it is, and everything I needed was right behind him. So, at least I had the pass. I'm happy about that. I don't know if everybody got that. And then at the end, John's finish distracted me for a second, and I provoked a second counter nuke in the first phase, and then the Z fight just wasn't really gonna work out for me.
Unfortunately.
Unless Cecil decided to dodge a lot of rolls, which at that time he did not choose to do. So. But yeah, it's fun. I love these flags. This is a really fun flag set. I'm looking forward to the upcoming ones as well. So
Yeah, so the Darkness Crystal was behind the Baron key from Tower.
makes sense.
And it ended up giving 3rd Fu if you were so inclined to go that route.
Who is it? Mysidia. I never bothered to stop there.
There was an Edge and an Edward.
Of course, Edge. Yeah, it would. With Fu, I would like. Typically, I love Edge. Right, I'm an Edge guy. But with Fu start, I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna lean into the Fu, and because then I don't even need to loot very much.
You ended up with double Cecil, double Fu.
Yeah, can't be bad about that too.
It's hard to find a character that will help the party much more than that.
Yeah, right.
So you went and you grabbed the Cecils, you got them online, and then you decided to go play in the lottery.
Yeah, what a garbage Eblin, man. Like, pretty wild. And then the treasury too, like nothing. No adamants, no like a light sword, defense swords, all over the place. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get one of the better items out of the Eblin. But at least it was fast.
Yeah. How did the lack of holy swords from that end up affecting your routing?
Not a ton, really. Like, I was really looking for an adamant before. Like, if I had gotten an adamant there, I don't know that I would have walked away from Golbez, because that would guarantee somebody like that I could control would get through the fight, which would have been a Fu. And that's kind of why I didn't want to deal with it there. That spot is just like, that's not where you want to deal with Golbez, really for me, it's just slow. And I was hoping, unless obviously it's required. If it wasn't required, it would have been a time save, but
unfortunately, Golbez was what you had to do.
Yeah, he was. It makes sense on a Cecil themed seed, right? That Golbez would also try to block your path. That's very appropriate. So, it worked out.
You also, when you ended up returning Sheila, you ended up with both parts of the forge. However, you ended up waiting all the way till right before the Zeromus fight.
Yeah.
What made you decide to wait on turning in the forge?
It wasn't really going to help me a ton, and I figured if I ended up with something else via a key item check or something, I could just skip it altogether. So, but I wanted it at the end because I just didn't have quite enough for the Cecils without doing more grinding. It was either do more grinding or go grab the forge, and so I decided to just grab forge.
Deathlike, do you have any questions for Potato?
Just there was I wish I had it. Just had. I mean, I think you kind of asked all the questions I was gonna ask. There wasn't too much deviation other than hey, just getting. Were there any thoughts just getting the Cecil, trying to maybe find a replacement for the second Cecil? I mean, you have to find two good swords, and I mean, defense swords are fine, but it just made him a cane.
I did think about the cane for a half second, but I just kind of committed to the Cecils, hoping that I would find more Cecil gear really along the way somewhere via one of the checks. Or at that point too, I was kind of thinking this might end up being a longer seed. I might end up going to the moon, and if that's the case, the chances of somehow finding like a Cecil weapon are a little higher, or somebody else. Like I knew I still had characters in Mysidia too, so I wasn't super concerned about adding new people to my party right then. I was just going to kind of make that decision later if necessary.
Yeah, it makes sense. You were happy with two Cecils.
Yeah, not a lot I could be sad about. The Fu, I mean, I didn't expect him, on these. I forgot that he was kind of in here on the Cecil seed, but he did good work, so.
GG's again, and hope you end up one wonderful rest of the night as well.
Y'all too. Thanks everybody for doing the restream, tracking, commentating, and setting all this up. The clubs are fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to several of them this season. And we've got lots of different kinds being restreamed across the week, so it's going to be good FE club season, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all, and GG again.
GG's again, Potato.
Have a good night. And with that, the races are done. However, we are not going to be done tonight. Upcoming for Free Enterprise, there will be on Friday on Free Enterprise 2, we will have Community Race. That's going to be the next race we restream. However, we are going to be raiding over to Flossifur. They're running some ladder hard seeds, so it should be a good watch, and you should be able to keep enjoying the Free Enterprise tonight. And we also, on Saturday, will be having the Baron's Hero's Journey at, I believe, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Yep. Yep.
Should be a very interesting flag set, because it's going to be the character of the week is Golbez and the Four Thieves. So lots of fun, and hope you end up, if you have time, watching that. Should be a good race.
Yep, the Friday community race is also at 10 p.m. Eastern, just like this race. So can't wait for that. And while we move you to Flossy Ferns, don't spoil the race. Yep. See you all next week.